save me at this moment.
Moving on to the show, Tuesday Under the Blanket, again. Mod Dam received a call from a woman named Belle, who shared her experience about a second-hand house. She recounted that the whole story began when she and her husband, Don, went to buy a new house, which was a second-hand one, to expand their living space for their family. As they were expecting a little one to arrive, they never expected to encounter strange situations in the new house they had just moved into. Don maneuvered the car and heard a strange sound. It seemed the wheels ran over something, so they checked. They found a dancer statue with a broken head, like one at the spirit house, making them uneasy. Strange events were just starting. Belle went to smoke outside. A gust blew out her lighter's flame. It sounded the car wheels ran over something. Both Belle and Don were curious, so they got out to see what was wrong. They found a dancer statue, like the one at the spirit house. This statue had a broken head, making them uneasy, but Belle and Don ignored it, and strange things were just starting. The day after moving in, Belle went out to smoke. As she lit her lighter, a gust blew it out. She looked around, found nothing, and let it go. Bizarre events happened more, like their deteriorating relationship. That night, after arguing, they went to bed as usual. I stepped out to smoke. A gust blew out the flame. Strange events happened more often, like the family's deteriorating relationship. As Belle was about to sleep, she heard Thai music, startling her. Belle felt uneasy and saw a shadow pass by the door. She let him sleep and checked herself. Belle opened the door, but nothing was there. But as she was about to fall asleep, Bea suddenly heard the sound of Thai music interrupting her, causing her to be startled and sit up in bed. But in just a flash, the sounds disappeared as if they had never happened before. Belle began to feel strange about the situation that was happening. Coincidentally, her eyes glanced at the edge of the door. At the moment Belle turned to look, she vaguely saw the shadow of a person walking past. But she tried to wake Don, but he was asleep. So she let him sleep and decided to check it out herself. A shadow passed again. The night was quiet. Until the next morning she noticed a new perfume on Don's shirt. She called Rat, her calm friend, for reassurance. Belle still doubted Don, even after Rat's comfort, while hanging clothes. The next morning, while doing laundry, Belle noticed a new perfume on Don's shirt. Belle, already suspicious of Don, felt uneasy. She called Rat, her calm friend, who reassured her. Their fractured relationship made trust difficult. Belle still doubted Don despite her friend's comfort. While hanging clothes, she noticed the wall's patchy paint. Peeling the paint revealed a red painting of two people holding hands. Curious but unaware of the house's history, she tried not to dwell on it. The fractured relationship made trust difficult. Belle wasn't confident in Don, even after her friend's comfort while hanging clothes in the laundry area. She noticed a patchy wall, peeled the paint, and found a red painting of two people holding hands. Curious but unaware of the house's history, she tried not to dwell on it. That evening, waiting for Don, he said he was going out. Her suspicions and stress as a soon-to-be mother made it hard to cope with Don's situation and the house's strange occurrences, leaving her uneasy. Alone that night, Belle encountered stranger happenings. In the dark house, she thought she saw a shadow moving. Curious, she followed it but found nothing concrete, yet felt she wasn't alone. That evening, Belle was waiting for Don to come home as usual, but he said he was going out for drinks. That night, the combination of her suspicions and stress weighed heavily on her as a soon-to-be mother, making it hard to cope with both Don's situation and the strange occurrences in the house, leaving her feeling quite uneasy. Nevertheless, that night, she had to stay home alone, and it was yet another time that Belle encountered even stranger happenings. As she walked through the dark house with only faint light from the street lamp filtering in, Belle thought she saw a shadow of a person moving back and forth. Out of curiosity, she tried to follow the source of the shadow. Even though she didn't see anything concrete, she still felt like she wasn't alone in this house. After that day, the relationship between Dao and 3E started to worsen. Dao felt insecure about 3E and 3E was also unhappy with Belle's suspicions. After a heated argument, he decided to step outside to smoke in the laundry area like before. And that was another time he found the headless dancer doll. He stared at the doll for a while. And out of frustration from the conversation with his wife, he touched the doll to vent his emotions. At that moment, Don noticed that there was a storage room in the laundry area behind the house. He decided to go in and explore the storage room, while Belle was sitting and talking with Rat about the family problems she was facing. The conversation was flowing well, but suddenly the bathroom door slammed shut, as if something had bumped into it. When Belle went out to check, she found nothing there. Belle felt more and more strange about the house until she decided to search for information on the internet and found out that, in fact, her family's new house was the site of a tragedy. The story begins with Juan, a dance teacher. She taught dance and performed at night. Juan moved a man in, hoping to start a family. She found he was married and using her. Heartbroken, he abused and left her. Relatives took her for treatment. She vanished until new owners found her corpse. She escaped, returned, dressed in her outfit, and hanged herself, driven by love for the house. Juan realized the man had a family. He abused her and disappeared. Juan lost her sanity, and her relatives took her for treatment. Juan vanished for months until new owners found her corpse in the living room. She escaped the hospital, returned home, and hanged herself. Her decomposed body was found with the rope deep in her skin, her head severed. Dao, uneasy, consulted Rat. Juan vanished from the neighborhood for months until new owners found a corpse in the living room. The incident was due to her attachment to the house. Juan escaped the hospital, returned home, dressed in her dancer's outfit, and hanged herself. Her body decomposed, severing her head. Dao, uneasy, consulted Rat. As Rat and Pack arrived, Dao noticed the washing machine running. Belle opened it, found a human head, and screamed. Dawn calmed her down. By the time people found her body was so bad that the rope used to hang her was embedded deep in her skin before it cut off her head and separated it from the beer gutter. When people found out about this, they immediately went to discuss the matter with the government. With unease, the tights and mouths will come to her, alone, so she walked down from the second floor of the house to stand and wait to receive a friend. But when she walked out, she found that the washing machine was working, even though she was not the one who turned it on. And with curiosity, Belle turned on the washing machine, before finding that, inside the washing machine, was the head of a person from the province that Belle screamed in shock and came into the house just in time. So he helped comfort her, not to panic. After checking the washing machine, Rat and Dawn found nothing. Everyone arrived, ate, and asked Rat about ghosts, as Belle often mentioned them. Rat didn't believe, but respected the idea. Dawn and Rat thought Belle was overthinking due to pregnancy hormones, and reassured her. That night, strange things happened. Dawn disappeared, and Belle found only his notebook. Suspecting 3E, Belle peeked at 3E's notebook and was creeped out by similar drawings she saw behind the house. Dawn and Rat concluded that Belle was just overthinking things due to the hormonal changes of pregnancy, so they reassured her not to worry before heading back home. But that night, after Nat had gone home, a terrifying event occurred. Dawn disappeared, and Belle started searching the house for him, but couldn't find him anywhere. All she found was his work notebook. With her suspicions about 3E already, Belle took the chance to sneak a peek at 3E's personal notebook, and was creeped out to find that it contained drawings similar to the ones she had seen on the wall behind the house the other day. The images changed page by page, telling the story of the house's first owner, starting with a picture of two people holding hands, like those on the wall behind the house. The next pages showed Juan's story, from meeting her lover to her tragic end. When Belle reached Juan's tragic story, the lights went out and Thai music played. Fearful and curious, Belle used her phone's flashlight to explore, finding a dancer near the staircase. Shocked, she realized it was Don, her husband. The rain and thunder added to her terror. Dawn, unrecognizable, approached her, causing Belle to panic and hide. She tried calling Rat, but he didn't answer. As Belle opened Juan's tragic story, the lights went out and Thai music played. Fearful and curious, Belle used her phone's flashlight to explore, finding a dancer near the staircase. Belle was so startled she couldn't scream, just stared as the dancer turned to face her. Shocked, she realized it was Dawn. The rain pounded, thunder rumbled, heightening her terror. Dawn, unrecognizable, approached in the dancer's outfit, step by step, causing Belle to panic and hide. She called Rat, but he didn't answer. After a moment, she opened the door, and Dawn lunged, trying to choke her. Belle fought back, pushing Dawn down the stairs, where he lay motionless in blood. Her water broke. She was about to give birth. Despite the chaos, Thai music played. Terrified, Belle ran out, in labor. As Rat returned, he took her to the hospital and contacted a friend for help. After the various sounds fell silent for a moment, Belle mustered her courage to open the door again. At that moment, her husband Don, dressed in the dancer's outfit, lunged at her and tried to choke her to death. Belle fought with all her might and managed to push Don down the stairs, where he lay motionless in a pool of blood at the landing. It was at that exact moment that her water broke, and she was about to give birth. Despite the chaos, she could still hear the sound of Thai music playing. Out of fear, Dale decided to run out of the house, even though she was in labor. Just then, Rat was driving back to find her, and took Belle to the hospital while contacting another friend to come help. And that day ended with Don only losing his head, but the baby was born safely. After Don woke up, he told her that he couldn't remember anything at all. The last thing he remembered was going into the storage room and finding a dancer's outfit in a box. And then everything went blank. Because of the incident that happened, the couple decided to move to a new house, for the whole story ended well. The conclusion seemed beautiful, but was false. After escaping the ghost, Belle discovered 3E's notebook had hateful messages about her and Rat. Belle realized the ghost was a setup by Dawn, who wanted to kill her and their child out of jealousy. Learning the truth was too late. Dawn caught her reading his journal, and the scene cut to black with her scream echoing. The story ended there, with their fate unknown. The black ant hung up, whistled, and the fog warned him of ancient ghost beliefs. In reality, the dancer ghost never existed. She discovered the truth too late. The story ended abruptly, leaving Belle and Dawn's fate unknown. The black ant ignored the warning and whistled as the doctor ran errands. Once she learned the whole truth from that notebook, it was already too late. Dawn walked in on her while she was reading his journal, and then the scene cut to black, leaving only Belle's scream echoing. The story ended just like that, with no one knowing what would happen to Belle and Dawn afterward. After the black ant hung up on Belle, he whistled again, and the fog warned him once more that in ancient times, they believed that ghosts would come out. But the black ant didn't believe it, and continued to whistle comfortably while the doctor went out to run errands. Then an image appeared of a headless dancer doll lying in that building, but the black ant didn't believe it. He continued to whistle comfortably while the doctor went out to run errands. Then an image appeared of a headless dancer doll, and in that building,